Discover the incredible life-changing moment when a single dad welcomes a crying girl, uncovering the secrets of hope and resilience. Jake trudged down the dimly lit street, the cold air biting at his cheeks. His heart was heavy, but today had been another day of survival, and he was almost home. With every harsh step against the cracked pavement, he couldn't help but think about his son, Max, and how much he wanted to give him a better life. As a single dad in a rough neighborhood, the odds were stacked against him. Yet every late shift was a step closer to realizing the dream he held tight, like a lifeline. But just as he rounded a corner, a wail echoed from the shadows. It pierced the silence like a siren, a raw, heart-wrenching cry that sent shivers down his spine. Instinct kicked in. Striding down the alley, Jake's heart raced with concern. There in the darkness, he found her, a scruffy girl no older than 8, tears streaming down her dirt-smudged cheeks. Her eyes were wide, reflecting a mix of fear and despair. "Help me," she whimpered, as if he were the last thread of hope in her world. Kneeling before her, Jake felt a surge of empathy. He remembered the nights of being ignored, living in despair, his own brushes with pain that etched scars into his being. "It's okay," he said softly, wrapping her trembling body in his arms, feeling her shudder against him. In that moment, Jake didn't just see a lost girl, he saw a reflection of his own son, the love he strived to pour into Max's life. The bond formed instantly, a connection beyond words, a fleeting escape from the harshness surrounding them. Yet just as hope began to bloom in the warmth of their embrace, Lily's past reared its ugly head. The girl's estranged mother crashed back into her life, demanding custody with threats woven through every word, striking the fragile peace Jake had dared to build. The moral dilemma churned within him. Should he prioritize Max's well-being, the life he had painstakingly created, or stand up for this girl so desperately in need of protection, knowing it could shake their world to its core? As the tension escalated and the whispers of the neighborhood grew louder, Jake stood firm in his integrity. The community rallied around him, a mix of doubt and unexpected support shifting in the air like a brewing storm. People whispered stories of justice and healing, old wounds resurfacing as they witnessed his quiet strength. It was in those moments, as he prepared for the courtroom battle, that he realized they were all fighting for more than just 2 girls. They were reclaiming the broken pieces of their dreams. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The courtroom was electric with anticipation, emotions on edge. When the gavel came down, silence embraced them, and Jake's heart raced, his commitments to both Max and Lily waging war within him. Was it unfair for him to fight for a bond that had formed in the shadows of their struggles? As he took a deep breath, ready to speak, everything he fought for hung in the balance, his hopes for 3 futures wrapped in uncertainty. What would the verdict reveal, and would hope endure? The air in the courtroom felt heavy, thick with anticipation. Jake's heart pounded in his chest as he stood near the front, his palms clammy on the wooden table. A gasp rippled through the gallery as the judge entered, a quiet authority anchoring the room. Both sides prepared for battle, lawyers whispering last-minute strategies, but Jake's focus was on the faces around him, the hopeful, the doubtful, and the weary. "Order in the court," the judge called, and everything settled into a hush that wrapped around Jake, drawing tight. He caught a glimpse of Lily sitting with a social worker, her small frame curled up tightly, as if protecting herself from the storm that loomed ahead. It broke his heart to see the fear in her eyes, yet it sparked a fierce determination within him. His lawyer, a sharp woman named Sarah, nudged him slightly, signaling that it was time. Jake stood straight, fighting the urge to tremble. He glanced at the opposing side. Lily's mother was poised and confident, wearing a designer suit that screamed authority. It felt like a cruel reminder of the worlds they each came from. This was a world where privilege often overshadowed need, and Jake saw this fight as more than just one for custody. It was a battle for a girl's future and a reflection of his own uphill climb against a very broken system. "Your Honor," he began, his voice steady but low, "I didn't go looking for this girl. But when I found her, I saw something that took me back to myself, to my son, Max." The room shifted, breaths held. "I know what it's like to feel lost. I know how it feels to have no one." The emotion seeped into his words, drawing murmurs from the crowd. "I want Lily to have the chance I want for my son, a home filled with love and safety." He could feel eyes on him, some filled with skepticism, others with sympathy. Jake inhaled deeply, his heart racing, thinking of Max. He wanted to show him that fighting for others was as important as fighting for one's own. "I don't want to take anything away from her mother, but I can offer Lily stability that she has throat-tightened, that she desperately needs." The judge leaned back, studying him. Jake's mind raced. Would it be enough? Could he convince her? Then, the mother stood, challenging him directly, her voice sharp and defensive. "You're a single father. You barely make enough to care for your own child. What makes you think you can provide for another?" Each word felt like stones thrown, and Jake's emotions twisted inside him. The truth lingered uncomfortably. She was right, he was doing it alone. But he wasn't simply proposing a home, he was promising a chance. And sometimes, a chance was all you needed. "There's strength in community," he replied, lowering his voice to plead his case candidly, "in shared hardship and in love. We're all part of this neighborhood, and they will support us. I'll fight like hell to make sure both kids thrive. Isn't that what your daughter deserves? And so does mine." The silence echoed as the tension mounted. He could feel the walls around them vibrating with whispered conversations, unspoken judgments, and hesitant hope. The judge took notes, deep in thought. Jake held his breath. The future of two lives hung in the balance. Would the judge see the truth of his intentions? As the courtroom waited for her decision, a little voice broke the silence. It was Lily. "Please don't take me away," she said, her eyes shimmering with tears, and Jake's heart shattered all over again. The gasps of astonishment that followed reverberated like thunder in the chamber. Would this simple plea sway the judge's hand? Jake's heart raced anew. Everything was about to change. What would happen next? Would love prove strong enough to carve a path through all this uncertainty? The atmosphere shifted palpably as Jake turned to Lily, her small body trembling under the weight of her words. The room felt like it was closing in on them, a shared silence punctuated only by the soft sniffles that echoed throughout the gallery. "Lily," he whispered, the name catching in his throat like a lifeline. He could see the deep fear in her eyes, a fear that reminded him all too vividly of the nights he spent searching for solace when he lost Max. He wanted to reach out, to pull her close, but the barriers of the courtroom felt insurmountable. The judge fastened her gaze on Lily, her face softening slightly. "Honey, why don't you tell us what you're feeling?" Her voice was a gentle caress, an attempt to draw the child out from the shadows of her apprehension. With an unsteady breath, Lily spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want to go back. I want to stay with Jake. He makes me feel safe." Her words hung in the air, swirling in the hearts of everyone present. Jake felt time suspend, his heart swelling and breaking at once. That little girl saw him as her anchor, her shield against the chaotic tides of life. He had spent years proving to himself that he was strong enough to protect Max, and now, here he was again, faced with the task of protecting another child. The judge seemed to be mulling it over. "And what about your mother, dear? She loves you too, doesn't she?" The question was sincere, yet the tension was palpable. Lily's face contorted. Jake watched her struggle. He could see the conflicting emotions battling inside her. She says things that make me scared. I just want to be happy." A collective gasp rippled through the courtroom. Jake focused on Lily again, the determination flooding back into his veins. He had to turn this moment into something powerful, something that could reach the judge, spark compassion in her heart, and convince the onlookers of his worthiness. "Your Honor," he interjected, desperation laced through his voice. "Lily deserves to feel happy. She deserves to be safe, surrounded by love." He felt as if he were pulling from a deep well of emotion, the memories of sleepless nights and laughter during their meals fueling his fervor. "Every decision I've made since losing Max has been to keep the love in our home. I want to take that love and share it with Lily, to let her know she's not alone anymore." The judge leaned forward, her fingers tapping lightly on the desk, scrutinizing him. The silence felt oppressive, yet full of possibility. Jake could feel hope kindling in his chest. "What assurance can you provide that your home would give her the stability she needs?" the judge questioned, her tone no less serious. Jake was ready for this. "I've built a support system. My friends, my neighbors, they're all here for us." He gestured to the small crowd gathered near the back, their faces earnest, supportive. "We are all in this together. It takes a village, and I've got a village willing to stand by us." His words echoed through the chamber, lifting his spirit as he watched nods, even smiles emerge among the audience. But doubts lingered, ready to strike. Would it be enough against the polished authority of Lily's mother? Before he could voice another argument, there was a soft cough from the back of the room. An older woman stood, her hands shaking slightly but her expression steady. "Your Honor, I've known Jake for years. He's one of the most dedicated fathers I've ever seen. Lily would be lucky to have him." Her words rippled through the court, igniting a flicker of hope. Jake's heart raced. He felt elated but also terrified. Each second felt like a tightrope walk high above the clouds. As more voices joined in support, he found breath again. It felt as if they were building a bridge together, stronger with each new testimony. The judge raised a hand to silence the courtroom again. "Thank you for your testimony. It sounds like there are many who want the best for Lily." Her tone was contemplative, balancing on the precipice of decision. Jake held his breath, emotions swirling like a storm inside him. Would the judge see what he saw? And then, a new revelation struck him, a memory from his past sparking encouragement. Sometimes, fate dances on the edge of our bravest moments. What if this was his time? Suddenly, loud footsteps echoed outside. The door swung open, revealing a new figure, a man in a crisp suit who strode in as if he owned the room. Jake's heart sank. Who was that? What new drama was about to unfold? The newcomer's entrance stole the breath from Jake's lungs. The man in the suit carried an air of authority, his sharp features set in a serious expression. He scanned the courtroom with piercing eyes, lingering momentarily on Jake before shifting focus to Lily. "Mr. Jackson, is it?" The man's voice was smooth, almost too polished. He turned to the judge, a smirk crawling onto his lips. "I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Adam Gray, attorney for Lily's mother." The room shifted again, waves of tension rippling through the audience as he approached with confident strides. Jake felt a knot tightening in his gut. A pit surged in his stomach as Adam continued. "I believe I have information that may change the proceedings today." The judge frowned, glancing back and forth between Adam and Jake. "What do you have, Mr. Gray?" she inquired, her voice steady but curious. "Your Honor," Adam began, folding his hands in front of him, "this whimsical notion of granting custody to Mr. Jackson is a charming story. However, I have evidence indicating that his motives may not be as altruistic as they seem." He pointed a finger accusingly, and Jake's heart raced. It's revealing that since the tragic loss of his son, Jake has become, well, less stable. His emotional state is questionable, to say the least. The room seemed to shrink around Jake, every eye trained on him, expressions ranging from disbelief to judgment. How could this man know any of that? How dare he? Objection. Jake found his voice, rising to face the man with righteous anger. "That's not fair. You don't know me or the battle I've been fighting. I've spent every day trying to rebuild my life, focused on creating a stable, loving home for Lily. Your Honor, Adam cut in, his tone dripping with condescension. We cannot overlook the impact that grief can have on a person's judgment. Should we really place Lily in the care of someone who is evidently still unraveling? Lily's small frame quivered beside Jake. He shot a glance at her, hoping to see a glimmer of reassurance in her eyes. Instead, he found fear reflected back at him. It stung like a slap. Lily, he started, but the words faltered in his throat as he watched her chin quiver and the tears threatened to spill. His heart cracked open, spilling emotions he struggled to keep at bay. You're safe with me, he promised, empty words scraping against the weight of doubt. The judge looked between them, contemplating the brewing storm. Mr. Gray, unless you have clear evidence of Mr. Jackson's instability that directly affects his capacity to care for Lily, I suggest we stay focused on the best interests of the child here. Of course, Adam replied, his confidence unshaken. But if a parent can't function well after a tragedy, how can they effectively parent another child? The judge leaned back, fingers steepled in thought. This isn't about Jake's past but about Lily's future. Let us speak with Lily, then we'll determine the best course. Shifting in her seat, Lily looked to Jake, her eyes full of confusion and vulnerability. His heart ached to see her uncertainty. Not long ago, she had bravely stood up to voice her feelings. Now, fear was beginning to creep in again. Adam's statement hung in the air, a dense weight that threatened to crush them both. Jake felt time stretching. Every tick of the clock echoed like the beat of his heart, each second another flash of doubt casting a shadow over their hopes. Will asking Lily what she truly wants give her the strength she needs to stay with me? Jake thought, grasping at the thin thread of hope. The judge nodded in agreement, and the tension in the room swelled once more. Just like that, the stakes had risen higher. He had to believe that they could withstand this storm. Because if the coming moments unraveled the little light they had found, Jake didn't know how they could survive again. As the judge prepared to call Lily back to the stand, Jake felt his heart racing. Would she find the strength within herself one more time? And then came the thought, heavy and real, would Adam's words shatter her confidence, leaving her lost and afraid? Please, God, let her be brave, he whispered silently, willing all of his faith into the tiny girl who had held on to him so tightly. Suddenly, an idea sparked within him, a flicker of defiance. If he could just help Lily put into words the safety and love she felt with him. With urgency coursing through his veins, Jake took a step forward, resolve flooding his heart. This was not just about him anymore, it was about her. What would he say to make her believe fully? What if she spoke out again, but this time she revealed a truth that they could both stand upon? The moment held the power to shift everything, to ignite a fire against the encroaching shadows. Just as the judge gestured for Lily to return, those thoughts collided. Everything depended on what she would say next. Jake's heart thudded in his chest as Lily stood up, her tiny figure dwarfed by the imposing furniture in the courtroom. As she walked toward the witness stand, the whispers swirled around her like a storm. Each step echoed with uncertainty. Could she muster the courage to voice her truth? He watched her intently, willing her to feel his presence, to know she wasn't alone in this moment. She paused, glancing back at him. Their eyes met, and for a fleeting second, he saw a flicker of courage in her gaze. It gave him a glimmer of hope. Breathe, he murmured to himself, squeezing his hands into fists beneath the table. The judge leaned forward, her gaze softening as Lily took her seat. Hello, Lily. You've been very brave. Can you tell us how you feel about living with Mr. Jackson? Lily's lips trembled as she looked at the judge, the room slowly fading away until it felt just like the two of them. But then, Adam's voice cut through the haze. You can't be sure she understands what's best for her, Your Honor. At her age, emotions can be easily swayed. Jake cursed under his breath. How could anyone question her feelings? She had been nothing but strong. The judge raised an eyebrow but didn't respond, focusing on Lily instead, who struggled to find her voice. I like living with Jake, she finally said, her voice wavering but clear enough to be heard. He makes me feel safe." The words hung in the air, filling the courtroom with a fragile, yet powerful energy. "Safe?" Adam scoffed, folding his arms across his chest. "Is that truly enough? Safety is just a word without a solid foundation." The palpable tension in the room built, electrifying the atmosphere. Lily's brows knitted together, confusion and hurt playing across her features, and it crushed Jake to see her like this. "Lily," Jake called out gently, leaning forward. "What makes you feel safe with me?" The question lingered as she pondered, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her dress. It was as if time slowed, everyone else fading into the background. "I can talk to you about anything," she finally responded, her voice barely above a whisper. "And you listen, you don't just pretend." A collective hush enveloped the room, a wave of collective emotion rippling through the crowd. "That," Adam interjected, his confidence starting to falter. "That's just part of being a parent. Emotional connections can cloud pragmatism." The judge held up a hand. "Mr. Gray, I'd appreciate it if you let her speak." Jake's heart swelled at the judge's words. Lily was rising, finding her footing amid the chaos. He could see she was slowly gathering strength, realizing her voice mattered. "And," she continued, her small hands gripping the edges of the chair as she leaned into the words, "He's always there for me, he took care of me when I was hurt. He tried to get me to laugh when I didn't want to. I want to stay with him." Boom! Jake felt an electrifying rush, a bolt of triumph igniting within him. The room fell silent, absorbing her confession with a heavy weight. "Your Honor," Adam's tone shifted, quickening as if he were trying to reclaim control of the narrative. "But her feelings they are just that. Feelings. They can change with time." "What about stability, structure?" Jake's chest tightened. "Stability doesn't come from rules alone. It's built on trust, love, and understanding. That's what I offer her." The judge's expression shifted slightly, as if the pieces were shifting into a greater understanding. "Lily, you know your heart best. And I'm glad you can express that," she said softly, acknowledging the girl's bravery. In that moment, Jake felt a fierce surge of protectiveness for Lily, knowing she had taken a step toward resilience. They were in this together, and the pain of yesterday didn't have to define tomorrow. Was that enough? Jake wondered, watching Lily's small frame as hope lit her face. But the specter of doubt lingered, threatening to steal her voice once again. Suddenly, he was struck by fear. What if Adam had one more card to play? What would happen when the courtroom turned again? Would they keep her, or would these words slip through the cracks? As Lily sat there, the palpable air of uncertainty filled the room. Would she cling to the courage she had just discovered, or would the fears take hold once more? Jake reached out slightly, just wanting to convey that he was standing right with her through it all. The judge cleared her throat, casting a glance at Adam and then back at the two of them. "I think we need to consider the implications of Lily's words more deeply." But before she could finish, the door swung open with a resounding bang, catching everyone off guard. A breath was stolen as new figures entered, their presence instantly shifting the atmosphere. Who could possibly walk in now, and how would their entrance alter the tension in the air? Jake felt his stomach drop as he recognized the figures entering the courtroom. His breath caught in his throat. It was his sister, Kate, and beside her stood a woman he had never met but recognized instantly from a photograph. Dr. Sarah Lee. This was the therapist who had been helping Lily before everything had spiraled out of control. The noise in the courtroom seemed to fade into silence, eyes snapping to the unexpected pair as they approached the front. Jake's heart raced, a mix of panic and hope flooding his senses. What were they doing here? Did they know something he didn't? "Your Honor," Kate began, her voice steady yet filled with an urgency that commanded attention. "I apologize for the interruption, but we have critical information that could greatly impact Lily's situation." The judge's brows lifted, intrigued. "Go ahead." Dr. Lee stepped forward, her demeanor professional, but a flicker of warmth crossed her features as she glanced at Lily. Lily has been seeing me for counseling. I believe she deserves to share her full story, she said, her gaze moving from the judge to Jake and finally landing on Lily, who appeared perplexed but intrigued by these familiar faces. Can we allow this? Adam's voice sliced through the air, his irritation palpable. This is an unnecessary distraction, Your Honor. On the contrary, the judge replied firmly. I think it could help us understand more about Lily's emotional state. She gestured toward the witness stand. Please, Dr. Lee, take a seat. Lily's wide eyes darted between Jake and Dr. Lee, a mixture of confusion and recognition. I didn't know you were coming, she stammered. It's okay, Lily. We're here to help you, Dr. Lee said, her tone soothing. Tension shifted, morphing into something more hopeful. Jake leaned forward, eager to hear what they had to say. As part of my work with Lily, I've come to see just how resilient she is, Dr. Lee began. She often talks about the safety and love she feels with Mr. Jackson. But what's truly important is how she perceives that safety. Jake's heart soared at the therapist's words. She shared with me moments in the past few months where she felt heard, understood, and valued. Dr. Lee continued. This is not just fleeting feelings, this is a powerful bond that is crucial for her healing. But kids often don't understand what they really need, Adam interjected, desperation oozing through his voice. Mr. Gray, I believe Lily understands much more than she's given credit for, Dr. Lee said firmly. In our sessions, she's articulated her experiences and feelings in ways many adults struggle to. Jake felt the weight of her words as they echoed around the courtroom. They weren't just defending his place in Lily's life, they were amplifying her voice. Lily's fingers fidgeted in her lap, but there was a spark in her eyes now, an understanding that she wasn't alone in this fight. I want to stay with Jake. He loves me, she declared with newfound conviction. Tears prickled Jake's eyes. She was standing up for herself, for what she wanted. It was beautiful. And terrifying. This is a decision that impacts a young girl's life, Dr. Lee continued. By denying her emotional needs, we only increase the chance of further trauma. The judge nodded thoughtfully, but Jake sensed Adam ready to reply. You can't base decisions on an emotional response, he argued, voice rising in frustration. Just when it seemed the tide might turn again, Kate spoke up with raw emotion. Isn't that exactly what we should be doing? Listening to what Lily needs. For a moment, silence reigned, heavy with the weight of their words. As Jake looked between Lily, Kate, and Dr. Lee, hope surged inside him. What if they could win this? What if their united voices could carve out a future for Lily? But then, the fear crept back. In one wrong statement could unravel it all. The judge leaned back in her chair contemplatively, her expression unreadable. This requires deep consideration. Just then, as the tension hung thick in the air, Jake noticed a side door previously unnoticed slowly creaking open. A figure appeared. Silhouetted against the light streaming in. Who else had come, and what would the next revelation mean for them all? As the figure stepped into the courtroom, Jake squinted, trying to make sense of who it could be. The light pouring in from the hallway silhouetted the figure, obscuring the features he desperately wanted to identify. Whispered gasps echoed in the gallery. Jake's heart raced again, not just with anticipation but with a nagging fear that gripped him tighter. Who is it? Kate murmured beside him, her brow furrowing with curiosity. The figure moved forward, the light finally revealing a familiar face. Terry, the man who had been a father figure to both Jake and Kate while they were growing up. He had been estranged from the family for years, a tangled web of unresolved issues and bitterness creating a distance that had seemed insurmountable. Yet, here he was, standing in a courtroom as if summoned by fate. Terry. Jake's voice broke the silence, sounding almost foreign to himself. The courtroom seemed to hold its breath, all eyes on this unexpected arrival. Terry's expression was softer than Jake remembered, but just as conflicted. I heard about Lily. I needed to be here, he said, his voice trembling slightly. The weight of his presence filled the space, and Jake felt a mix of resentment and warmth bubble to the surface. "Do you think your presence is going to help?" Adam snapped, clearly thrown off balance. "This isn't a reunion. It's about a custody decision. And sometimes, just being here means everything," Terry replied, his eyes darting from the judge to Jake and then to Lily, who remained wide-eyed, taking in the scene as she clutched Jake's hand like a lifeline. Lily seemed to sense the tension but also the unexpected shift in dynamics. "Uncle Terry?" she asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "You came for me?" Terry's lips pressed together as he looked at her with a mixture of longing and regret. "Yeah, kid, I came for you." Wonder filled Lily's eyes, and for a brief moment, the tension in the room eased. The judge observed quietly, her gaze shifting between Terry and the others, weighing the implications of this surprise appearance. Jake felt his heart race again, not just with confusion but with a sinking dread. This was not what they needed. He could already feel Adam sharpening his focus on this new angle. "Your Honor," Adam interjected again. "Are we really going to allow this man to weigh in? He has no business being here." But Terry shook his head firmly, stepping further into the room as if stepping into the light might also bring clarity. "I have business here," he said, his voice growing steadier. "I know what it means to be a family, even a fractured one. I can't just stand by while Lily needs support." Jake felt the walls closing in around him. All the progress they had made in the courtroom hung by a thread, ready to fray. "But are you genuinely here for her? Or is this your way of mending old wounds?" Jake questioned, his anger rising. "I'm here for her," Terry pressed, desperation in his voice. "I don't want her to feel abandoned like I did. She deserves better." Those words hit Jake hard. They resonated with the memories of his own childhood, the feelings of neglect and pain that came flooding back. It was also painful to realize that he had been so worried about proving his worth as a father that he had never considered how Terry's presence might change everything. "Then let her speak," Kate said, breaking through the tension once more. "Let Lily decide." Lily's grip tightened around Jake's hand, her uncertainty palpable. I want to stay with you, Jake," she said, her voice firm but small, but the stirrings of doubt were rising. Who would truly decide her fate? As eyes turned toward the bench, anticipation mingled with dread, a hush falling over the courtroom. It was clear this moment would be critical, but a single nod from the judge could change everything. Then, as all eyes rested upon her, she cleared her throat, ready to take control of the unfolding chaos. "Let us hear what Lily has to say." But before she could finish, another figure slipped in through the same door, and gasps erupted once again. What new revelation awaited them? And how would it shape Lily's future? The new figure emerged, stepping into the light, face full of intensity. Jake's heart sank as he recognized the woman immediately. Sarah, a childhood friend who had been a constant presence in their lives until the fallout that had driven them all apart. She looked just as he remembered, a fire in her eyes that screamed determination. But there were shadows under her gaze, hints of the battles she had fought alone. "Sarah," Jake breathed, disbelief coursing through him. The courtroom was oddly silent again as everyone took in this unexpected twist. "I came as soon as I heard," she said, her voice steady yet urgent. "I know this isn't the right time, but something must be said." She glanced at the judge, who raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued. "What is it, Ms. Hale?" The judge prompted, letting the tension sit like heavy fog in the air. I know about Lily's situation," Sarah continued, taking a step closer. "And I know what happened with Terry. Things aren't as straightforward as they seem." She glanced at the gallery, her expression pleading for understanding. "Lily deserves to know the truth." "What truth?" Adam challenged, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife. "This isn't the time for games." "No games," Sarah responded firmly. "Just reality. There are things about Lily's past that could change everything." Lily's eyes darted between the adults, confusion clouding her innocent gaze. What are you talking about? She asked, her voice small but filled with curiosity. Jake could feel everyone's expectant gaze on her, the entire room waiting on an answer like it was the most fragile of glass. He wanted to protect Lily from whatever Sarah unleashed. Lily, Sarah began carefully. When you were little, I found out something important. She paused, gathering her thoughts, her eyes steadfast. She was never alone. You have family around you. Real family who wants to be part of your life. Whispers ran through the courtroom like wildfire. Jake felt his heart race. How could there be more? He looked at Lily, who was now staring back at Sarah with unbridled curiosity. What do you mean? Lily's voice climbed higher, a blend of wonder and fear. Who? I can't say right now, Sarah said, shaking her head, but what I can say is you have a sister, Lily, a sister who has been looking for you. Silence fell. Jake felt time stop as he processed what Sarah just said. A sister? How was that possible? Questions crashed through his mind. Did it mean he was not enough? Was his family truly incomplete? The judge cleared her throat, shifting uneasily, breaking the tension. This sounds like a significant lead we need to explore, she said, but her tone was cautious. But this is a courtroom focused on Lily's immediate welfare. Yes, but her future hinges on what we don't understand yet, Terry interjected, his voice thick with urgency. My presence here shows a commitment to family. If there's more to Lily's story, we must know it. Jake felt a mix of anger and helplessness rise within him. He had just started to comprehend the implications of Terry's arrival, now Sarah was pulling a string that could unravel everything. Do you want to meet her? Sarah asked softly, addressing Lily directly. She's very excited to meet you. Jake felt trapped, caught between the promise of something that could help Lily and the fear of losing her. Lily looked up at him, uncertainty mingling with hope. Is it okay? She asked quietly, her small voice shaking. Jake's heart thundered in his chest. He searched for the right words, grappling with the images of Lily's uncertain future, of Terry stepping into the role of an uncle, and now a sister emerging from the shadows, but as he opened his mouth to speak, a flood of emotions swirled around him. What would it all mean? What kind of life was Lily headed towards? Before he could answer, another voice suddenly rose from the back of the gallery. But what if I don't want that family? Everyone turned. It wasn't tea over yet. What was about to unfold next could change everything. Lily's wide eyes darted to the source of the voice, her small frame trembling slightly. Jake's heart dropped as he turned to see a girl standing in the back, around Lily's age, with dark hair framing a face streaked with tears. The moment was electric, all eyes snapped to her, waiting for an explanation. I don't want anything to do with her. The girl shouted, her voice cracking under the weight of her emotions. You don't know what it feels like to have someone you thought was gone, come back and ruin everything. Jake felt something twist inside him. Was this supposed sister really here, ready to disrupt Lily's life? The courtroom buzzed with whispers, tension thick as if they were all holding their breaths. Sarah said softly, stepping toward her, you don't really mean that. Lily needs to understand. You both deserve to know the truth. I don't care about the truth. Emmy shot back angrily, wiping her eyes. The truth is, it was supposed to be the two of us. We were supposed to have a normal life at least until you meddled again, Sarah. Jake watched as Sarah flinched, taking a step back. Was there a history here he didn't know about? He felt the drama surge between the two girls like a storm ready to break. What if I don't want a sister? Lily whispered, her innocent facade cracking under the weight of possibility and confusion. Jake's heart sank. He wanted to protect her, to shield her from the pain and the complexities of tangled family ties, introductions that could lead to heartbreak rather than joy. Lily, it's okay to feel that way, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. You don't have to make any decisions right now. But I don't even know her. Lily echoed, her voice wavering. What if she hates me? Emmy crossed her arms, standing like a fortress, unsure but clearly feeling threatened by the thought of Lily slipping into a role that could overshadow her own life. I don't hate you, she snapped, making Jake jump. I just don't want things to change. They have changed too much already. The sharpness of her words stung like a bee. Jake felt his chest tighten. Every family goes through change, he said, trying to remain calm. And sometimes, change can bring in something good even if it's scary at first. Terry watched the girls with a mix of understanding and regret. I know this is overwhelming, especially for you, Emmy, he interjected gently. But family is about more than just sharing blood. It's about care and support. Can't we just be happy without her? Emmy retorted, her voice louder as desperation seeped in. I feel like I'm going to lose everything. Jake could feel the despair mounting. Emmy, he said, moving closer to her, it doesn't have to be about losing. Think of it this way, this could be about gaining another person who loves you. You deserve that love. Everyone held their breath. Jake stifled the wave of emotion threatening to spill over. He could see the darkness in Emmy's eyes battling with the flickering light of hope. Can I really have both? Emmy asked softly, breaking the brittle tension. Can it all really work out? As she looked around the room, searching for answers, Jake felt a strange mix of sorrow and hope. Could they find a way through this chaos together? Would both girls be able to accept a family with entangled histories but open hearts? Just as the air began to shift, the judge cleared her throat again, bringing everyone back to the moment at hand. I believe a family meeting with therapists might be in order. Jake glanced at Lily and then at Emmy, uncertain whether to feel relieved or anxious. The courtroom buzzed again with conversations and speculation, but the real question hung in the air like a whisper, echoing louder than all of them. What paths would they choose? Would they dare to step into the unknown together, or would fear keep them apart? The courtroom light flickered, casting shadows that seemed to dance between unresolved emotions and undiscovered futures. The atmosphere in the courtroom swelled with a charged energy, the air thick with uncertainty and possibility. Jake glanced at Lily, her small frame trembling with fear, and at Emmy, whose conflicted expressions mirrored the chaos within. Every heart in the room pulsed with raw emotion, a mix of fear and hope, longing and resistance, love and doubt. Can it all really work out? Emmy asked softly, as if she had pierced through the veil of uncertainty that hung over them. Her voice held a tremor, demanding an answer that echoed in the hearts of everyone present. Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. They were two innocent girls caught in a storm of adult complexities. Yes, it can, he said firmly, stepping closer, allowing compassion to guide him. But it will take courage to face the unknown together. You both deserve the chance to be happy. He turned to Lily, whose wide eyes held the flickering light of hope. Lily, remember when we talked about being a family with love, where everyone supports one another? This could be part of that. Lily glanced at Emmy, searching for understanding in the other girl's deep-set eyes. But what if we can't figure it out? What if it all falls apart? The fear in her voice gripped Jake's heart painfully. Every relationship requires work, Sarah interjected gently, shifting the focus. It won't be perfect right away, but you two can learn and grow together. That's what family does. The judge nodded, her features softening as she leaned back thoughtfully. Family isn't solely defined by blood. In this case, it's about love and care. I believe guiding both of you, with the right support, is the key to growth. Emmy looked at the judge, then back at Lily, a wave of vulnerability softening her expression. But, could I really have a sister? She questioned, her voice breaking. Yes. Echoed both Jake and Terry, their responses almost in unison. The corners of Jake's mouth lifted as he felt the warmth of their shared hope. You have someone who can love you in ways you've never imagined. You won't be alone anymore. At that moment, the light in Emmy's eyes flickered, a spark igniting as she whispered hesitantly, "I want to try." Lily held her breath, sensing the fragile but genuine shift between them. "Me too," she said with quiet determination. The judge smiled gently, her heart clearly moved. "This may not be an easy path, but if you're both willing, a family can emerge from these tangled beginnings. Maybe we can meet together with therapists," Terry added, his voice full of sincerity. "Building siblings doesn't happen overnight, but through patience and understanding, it can flourish." Tears streamed down Lily's cheeks, but they were not tears of fear, they glimmered with a newfound light, a promise of hope. Emmy, too, wiped at her eyes. "Okay. Let us try," she said, her voice steadier as she reached out to take Lily's hand. Inside, Jake felt a surge of gratitude igniting a warmth in his chest. They were moving forward, stepping into a shared future together. With unsteady but hopeful courage, two girls who had stood on different sides of fear now reached for the light ahead together. As they shared that moment, the tension in the courtroom broke, dissolving into soft applause from the onlookers. The ripple of support, the sounds of encouragement, breathed life into their dreams. The judge raised a hand, quieting the room once more. "This hearing has revealed the complexities of family, heart, and resilience. It is crucial we prioritize the well-being of both Lily and Emmy as they navigate this journey. I'm granting temporary joint custody while we engage both families in counseling sessions to help them forge this new bond." Relief washed over Jake like a soothing tide. He could do this. They could do this. He turned to Lily and Emmy, who were now holding hands, ready to leap into the unknown. "You're safe now, Lily," he whispered, pride swelling within him. At that moment, everything felt right. Together, they would face all that life would throw their way. Because sometimes, it takes dreaming of new beginnings to ignite hope where darkness once reigned. As the courtroom emptied, Jake, Lily, and Emmy stepped out into the sunlight. The warmth wrapped around them like a new beginning, the world outside felt alive with possibilities. "Hey, we're in this together," Jake said, smiling down at the girls, who beamed back at him, and as they walked toward an uncertain future, each took a step forward, the weight of yesterday fading, a deep conviction that love would guide them on. All they needed was to embrace the journey ahead. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support, it truly makes a difference. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.